Hi, and welcome back to my channel, In Service with MJ. So, I'm super excited that you've come back for another video and that you have joined me today. I wanted to spend some time giving a shout out to all the single moms out there and to provide maybe some inspiration and encouragement for all of you that are going through the journey that single moms go through. So, I know I told you in my introduction video that I was now remarried for the second time and that my first marriage did not end well and that I was now married to an amazing guy. All that is true. What I didn't really go into was how that all transpired. So I wanted to take just a few minutes and talk to you about how I became a single mom, what my journey looked like, and how I came out on the other side and was able to meet someone amazing and build a life with someone else. So, I know I told you in the last video that I had been a police officer for 17 years. I was not a police officer when I first became a single mom. I got married very young, and my first husband and I, he was in the military, he was Navy, and so for the first few years of our married life, we spent traveling. We lived in California, we lived in Okinawa, we lived in Texas, and then ultimately we moved back to Virginia, which is where I grew up. And it was while we were in Virginia that we decided to go our separate ways and end our marriage. And so I had always spent most of my time either staying home with the kids or working kind of ancillary jobs that were more just a support role to help pay for daycare or, you know, little odds and ends here and there. I was not the primary breadwinner in our family. That wasn't my function. My role was a support role for my husband, who was very involved in his military career and then ultimately very involved in his engineering career. And that was fine with me. But now, being faced with the realization that I was going to be a single mom and that I was going to need to be able to provide for myself and my children really left me kind of in a situation where I had to re-examine what I was doing with my life and what kind of jobs I was looking at. Now, I also didn't finish college. I went for 3 semesters. I didn't enjoy college. It was not for me. And so I left college after 3 semesters and I worked full-time until I married my kid's dad. So fast forward 12 years, my ex-husband and I have split up, and now I am embarking on this new journey of reinventing myself and being a single mom to these 2 little people that came along, and that's where I'm at. So I was already working for the police department in a civilian capacity, and my dad happened to be a police officer in the same department, and one day I told him, hey, you know, I think I want to be a police officer. And his first response was, that's great, you get to tell your mom that. And so I said, okay, and I broke the news to my mom that I wanted to pursue being a police officer, and she was totally fine with it because she was used to, you know, my dad had been a police officer at that point for, gosh, over 20 years. So not really a big surprise to her, not anything that really stressed her out. She was very supportive. My family was extremely supportive. So I applied, I went through the process, the background, the polygraph, all of that stuff that is involved in getting hired to be a police officer. And I got selected, and I was sent to the police academy in February of 2005. So for those of you who don't really know what's involved in a police academy, there is physical fitness training where you run and lift weights and do calisthenics. There is defensive tactics training where you learn how to safely fight if you find yourself involved in a physical fight with someone. There is emergency vehicle operations training where we learn how to safely operate a police car at high rates of speed. There is firearms training where we learn how to operate guns, handguns, long guns, shotguns, that kind of thing. And then there's the academic component where we learn about the laws that are applicable in our state, where we learn about the constitutional implications of being a law enforcement officer, what we can and cannot do, how we can and cannot search people, the paperwork that's involved with being able to process somebody that we are going to arrest, all kinds of academic stuff. And it's 6 months, and it's very tedious, and it's very exhausting. And so I'm a brand new single mom, trying to also be a student in a police academy 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, and also still be there for my kids who were very young at this time. My son was 6 and my daughter was 3. And let me tell you, it was stressful. It was hard. And the kids' dad was a big help because he was able to keep them a lot during the week when I was in training, and then I would have them on the weekends. My parents played a large role in making sure that I could be successful in this new task that I was taking on. But it didn't change the fact that there were times I still felt really, really alone. Because even though I had people around me to support me, I was doing something brand new that terrified me. I didn't know if I was going to make it through and graduate. I didn't know if once I did graduate, if I was going to make it through field training back at my actual department where they did the training that was on the road, on the street, dealing with people. I just didn't know what that was all going to look like. And it was terrifying to me, especially knowing that I had the responsibility of these 2 small people to care for and to make sure that they had everything they needed. So it was a very daunting task, very eye-opening, and I was terrified. I was absolutely terrified. But as I went through it for those years until I met and remarried about 7 years later, I realized that I just had to keep pushing forward every day. And there were days when I was exhausted. There was a night when I had gone in early to work because I had court. I got out of court and immediately had to start my shift. And then before our shift ended, there was a massive rainstorm. Our city flooded. My personal vehicle flooded and floated away. And our shift got held over to help deal with the after effects of this colossal storm. And so I didn't get off until 6 o'clock the next morning. So I had come in at 8 o'clock in the morning to be there for court and was now going home 22 hours later. And I had no car because it had flooded. Now, I still had to go back to my house, get myself together, borrow my parents' car, and drive to Maryland and pick up my kids for the weekend because it was time for me to exchange custody with my ex-husband. All of that after having worked for 22 hours and having had no sleep. So trust me, there were times I just wanted to lay on my bed and cry. And there were times I did lay on my bed and cry. Trust me. It was very hard at times. But if I could just show you 15 years into the future, 20 years into the future, how different your life will look and how amazing your children are going to turn out. Despite the hardships that you're going through, I promise you, you can absolutely, absolutely do it and be successful and find joy and find happiness. And those kids will be fine. They will come out great. My children are 2 of the most amazing people, and my stepdaughters are 2 of the most amazing people. And they have found spouses, and they have had babies, and they have just become amazing, amazing humans contributing to their communities. And I could not be more proud. And all of that would not have been possible without me having been a single mom and going through what I went through. And was it hard? Absolutely. But was it worth it? Also, absolutely. So, fun story. When I had been on the police department, probably, I don't know, maybe a year and a half, 2 years, I was working evening shift. And so I would go into work at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and I would get off at 2:30 in the morning because we worked 11.5-hour shifts. And so the kids were living with me. We were living about 25 or 30 minutes away from the department I worked for. And as luck would have it, the house that I was able to live in was almost the exact same distance to the kids' elementary school as it was to my parents' house just a few blocks away. So imagine, if you will, we lived in a triangle: school, my house, my parents' house. And so if I was working, my kids could walk home to their grandparents' house as easily as they could walk home to our house. So this one particular evening, I had worked overtime, which means I had worked above and beyond my 11.5-hour shift. And I can't remember exactly why, if there was a call that kept me late or if I had volunteered to stay late, but I had worked a significant number of hours and was coming home extremely tired. So I came home and got my kids off to school. I dropped them off at school, and I came home and I was going to go back to sleep so that I could get up and go back to work later that evening. So I remember it was a Monday, because the school that my kids went to had early dismissal on Monday, which meant instead of getting out at 3:15, they got out at 1:15. So I go home, I'm asleep, and I wake up and it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And I freak out because it is not 1:15 like it should have been, like I should have been waking up to meet my kids or go out and make sure that they walked home okay. It was 4 o'clock. It was now almost 3 full hours since my kids had been released from school, and I'm still asleep in the bed. So I freak out, and I don't collect any of my thoughts. I don't collect any of my belongings, and I literally run out of my house in sweatpants and a t-shirt. That's it. Sweatpants and a t-shirt. No shoes. No bra, ladies. Just sweatpants and a t-shirt. And I run and I jump in my car and I go screaming to the elementary school that's 3 blocks away. And I run into the office of the elementary school and I scream out, "Where are Austin and Kenan? Where are Austin and Kenan?" And they go, "We don't know." And I yelled, "Oh my God," and ran back out of the school. So now I'm in my car and I'm calling my mom and I'm screaming at her, "Where are Austin and Kenan?" And she goes, "I don't know." And I say, "Oh my God," and I hang up on her. Then I called the person I was dating at the time and I say to him, "Have you seen Austin and Kenan?" And he says, "No." And I say, "Oh my God," and I hang up on him. So now I am frantic, and in my mind are all of the horrible things that could be happening to my children right now. And of course I'm a police officer, so it's 1,000 times worse because I'm thinking of all the just terrible things that could have happened in these 3 hours since I was supposed to have woken up but did not actually get up. So I'm freaking out, I'm starting to cry, I'm starting to panic. I'm thinking about where I could possibly be looking for my kids when I see that my cell phone is flashing with a message. So I listen to the voicemail, and it is my daughter, Kenan. And she is calling, and she says, "Mom, why did you run out of the house like that? Did you go to the store? Are you coming back? What's going on? Okay, bye." And she hangs up. Okay, people. So what had happened was I had actually woken up at 1:15. I had gone and met my kids at the corner and walked them the rest of the way home and got them settled in the house and went back to bed. But I was so tired from working so many hours that time period when I woke up, went to the door, went to the corner, met my kids, brought them home, got them set up and settled in with a snack and Blue's Clues, I totally forgot about. And when I woke up again at 4, I had forgotten all of that. And I thought I had never gotten my kids home from school. And so I ran out of the house like a crazy person looking for my kids. So, trust me when I tell you, single moms, I have been there. I have done that. I have the t-shirt for crazy stuff that has happened and moments of sheer terror and panic that I have experienced being a single mom. But it all turned out okay. My kids, they still laugh about that story. My daughter still tells me, "Mom, wasn't it so funny when I called you and left you that voicemail?" Yeah, it's funny now. It wasn't funny then. I was terrified that something had happened to those kids. But they were fine. Everything was fine. I was fine. And now they are amazing adults who just it is such a treat to get to be friends with your adult children. So I said all of that to say this. Single moms, single parents, I know it's a struggle. I know it's a hardship. I know there are days it is extremely lonely and it is extremely grueling, but it is so worth it for the end result of these amazing human beings that you send out into the world to be a part of this society and this community. And so just keep pressing forward. I promise, I promise, I promise you can do it. And it does get better and it does get easier. And find people who can be part of your community, part of your tribe that can support you. Even if you don't have family close by, there are people in your community who will become like family to you and who will provide you the support that you need to be able to press forward, raising these amazing little people that are going to grow up to change the world. It's just such an amazing responsibility. And I'm so grateful for my children and the blessing they've been in my life. And even though my first marriage didn't work out, I'm still grateful because I got two amazing kids out of the deal. And I'm grateful for my second marriage and the bonus kids that I got from marrying the man that I married. So, like I said, you can make it. Just keep on pressing on. And even if there's something that you want to do that you think you can't do because being a single parent or a single mom might hold you back, go for it anyway. Challenge yourself, surprise yourself, shock other people, and prove to them that even though you're going through this hard time, this hard season in life, you can do it. You absolutely can do it. There is nothing holding you back. The only thing holding you back is you. Change your thinking, change your resolve, and you can absolutely do it. I believe in you. I am here for you. I am excited to continue bringing you content on this channel, so please do not forget to hit the like button and subscribe so that you can be notified when I release new content. And I look forward to seeing you here back at In Service with MJ. Bye!